Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Griffin here and I hope you're all having a great day as always. Now, today's video is about a really exciting new company that's innovative, green, as well as extremely disruptive in an industry that is in dire need of innovation in regards to its environmental footprint. The company I'm speaking about here is called NEXE Innovations, ticker NEXE on the Canadian Securities Exchange. So yes, if you are interested in this company, you're going to need to use a brokerage that supports the Canadian Securities Exchange, such as for example Questrade. You can check out the link down in the description to get $50 in free trades when you open and fund your account. Now, I do also want to mention that I had quite a few viewers over the past couple of weeks ask me to do a review of NEXE Innovations, and it so happens that right around the same time, NEXE Innovations reached out to me directly and they wanted me to do a promotional video for them. So yes, this is a sponsored video, but again, I'm very selective of the companies I do this with. I literally get asked every single day by companies, startups, mostly small cap companies, to do promotional videos for them, and I only do it if I think it'll be beneficial for all of you, the audience. So yeah, NEXE Innovations, this is a company that really caught my attention for a couple of main reasons. The first one being that I myself, unfortunately, I use these disposable coffee pod machines on a pretty regular basis myself, either a Keurig or an espresso machine, and I know a lot of viewers and just people in general also have these coffee machines for added convenience in our hectic lives. And even though these machines are extremely convenient and save us all a lot of time, the sheer waste that they produce has always been a thought that crosses my mind, and I've always wondered over the years of using these types of machines when a viable green and alternative option would become available on the market. In today's day and age, I think we can all agree that convenience is key. So if people continue using these disposable coffee pods, which they will, a product that's biodegradable is a game changer. So when I was recommended NEXE by a few viewers, after some further research, I'm really behind what this company is all about and what they're looking to bring to market. If you've been watching my channel for a while now, then you would know that I am all about these renewable energy stocks, alternative meats, electric vehicles, and just other companies that are bringing innovation to the whole renewable and green space as a whole. And these are companies that are also gaining quite a bit of interest from the general market for really all the right reasons. And with many government bodies also pushing the use of these renewable alternatives, this is a company that is right up my area of interest for a stock that I believe will do well over time. Now, since this is a relatively new public company, we don't have all that much financial information about NEXE Innovations, but we will be looking over their investor presentation as well as speaking about the overall global coffee pod industry to see what type of opportunity NEXE could really tackle over the coming decade. And then finally, the opportunities that I see with NEXE Innovations as well as some risks to consider before making an investment in the company. As always, if you're new to investing, make sure to check out the links down below to relevant resources that I use, and also make sure to smash the like button if you like innovative and forward-looking companies. So with all that said, let's get right into it. Alright, so NEXE Innovations. This is a company that's based out of Vancouver, Canada, and was founded in 2015. NEXE Innovations' vision is to make plant-based materials more accessible and widely used by the market, in this case, fully decomposable coffee pods called the NEXE Pod. So this is a 100% plant-based coffee pod alternative that's taken 5 years and $30 million worth of research and development to finally get the product just right for a barrier that's resistant to heat without compromising on the taste, the structural integrity, or using any toxic ingredients, which newsflash here, the plastic coffee pods, they do seep toxicity into the coffee. The company also claims that the NEXE pods are 100% fully compostable in as little as 35 days, which is absolutely game changer considering that the typical plastic coffee pods take anywhere from 500 to 10,000 years to decompose. That is completely unacceptable and has honestly created a massive global problem considering the size of this industry now and the growth each and every year. Now, in terms of competing coffee pods that are currently available on the market and claim to be better for the environment, just take a look at this slide of the investor presentation. So in the middle, we have the typical coffee pod that we're used to, but then we also have the pod to the left here that we might think, is better for the environment, but it still has so many downsides. I personally used these before. They're complete garbage. They stay extremely hot. They're super messy when you take them out of the machine. They drip everywhere, and they also take anywhere from 6 months to 2 years to fully decompose, which, obviously is way better than 500 to 10,000 years, but still the NEXE pod really brings a lot more practicality here while also being much better for the environment. Now, I do want to mention at this point that while NEXE Innovations is currently focusing on developing and manufacturing these Keurig compatible and Nespresso compatible coffee pods, which will allow the company to tackle the entire at-home coffee pod market, NEXE Innovations isn't inherently a coffee brand and is certainly not looking to limit their future on focusing on the coffee market exclusively. What I mean by this is that the material they've developed over the past 5 years for the use in these coffee pods is going to also serve as the base for multiple other product lines and innovations that NEXE may have in the future. And what I find most interesting here from an investment standpoint is that you're investing into NEXE right now as a coffee focused company, but really what's most interesting is the IP that they've developed. In fact, their decomposable products and pods have over 20 individual patents on the go that are going to allow NEXE to protect what they've created and build somewhat of a moat around their business, where they can therefore license their pods and technology to other companies like Starbucks, Folgers, Nespresso, etc. So again, the intellectual property that NEXE Innovations has developed over the past 5 years is really what I find most interesting in the big picture for this company. But in regards to what they're currently focusing on, which is the coffee market, I see two current sales verticals that NEXE Innovations can tackle. The first sales vertical would be launching their very own coffee brand in the NEXE pods. And in fact, as of last week, they just announced the launch of their new Exoma superfood brand that's coming to market in late January, which will include micro-ground coffee fortified with MCT oil packaged in the NEXE pod, as we can see right here. I will definitely be trying this out. Make sure to let me know down in the comments whether or not you're going to be trying this out also. The second main sales vertical for NEXE Innovations that I see offering a lot more scalability opportunities is licensing their tech and manufacturing pods for other companies, because the reality is that a lot of consumers, they already have their favorite coffee and their coffee brands that they go to on a regular. So if NEXE Innovations can start packaging other brands' coffee in their own pods, for example Starbucks, this offers a massive amount of opportunity moving forward. And honestly, who knows here? I could very well see another much larger player in the coffee space decide to buy out NEXE Innovations as a whole in order to purchase the IP that this company has been developing over the past couple of years. That's something that you could see, for example, Starbucks doing to better their image, but ultimately that's really just speculation here. Now, NEXE Innovations does also own their fully automated production facility in its entirety, currently on its way to being able to produce a total of 220 million pods per year, which we can see on this chart split between K-Cups and Nespresso cups by the end of 2021. For this reason though, the company is just coming to market and is therefore still pre-revenue, but I actually see this as a great opportunity for getting in on this company before they hit the market on a much wider scale and start licensing their coffee pods to other manufacturers, at which point when they continue scaling up their production capacity, which they are on track to produce upwards of 1 billion pods per year, that is the company's goal as of right now, this is going to be a massive opportunity for this company and investors. This actually brings me to my next point that I found extremely intriguing, but honestly not too surprising considering that NEXE Innovations is Canadian and is a green company, and that is that one of their main funding partners is the government of Canada, which is huge when you have the Canadian government as one of your main funding partners. In fact, just last Thursday, NEXE announced that they were awarded an additional $1 million from the government of Canada to support the commercialization of their NEXE Nespresso compatible pods. And this is actually not the first time that the government of Canada gives NEXE Innovations grants for developing their products. So as you can see, having the government of Canada as a partner really helps out for funding. Alright, so now that we have a better idea of what NEXE Innovations does as a company and what they have to offer, let's quickly speak about the overall coffee industry, as well as more specifically, the disposable coffee pod industry. First, looking over slide 14 here, we can see that the disposable coffee pod industry is expected to have reached 50 billion units in 2020, which is absolutely staggering considering that most of these coffee pods are going to be in landfills for 500 to 10,000 years. Now, the total addressable market is also massive and continues to grow each and every year, specifically the single-serve coffee pod market, which currently represents around 50% of all coffee consumed worldwide and is expected to continue growing at an annual compound growth rate of 8.5% 25%. So that's a really rapid growth rate for an industry that's already so mature. And if you think of it, this makes complete sense because as consumers, we've been pretty much forced to turn towards at-home alternatives to our coffee. And so a lot of people have purchased these disposable coffee pod machines and will continue consuming more and more coffee pods each and every year instead of going out to the shop. Personally, I never really purchased coffee at the shop, but now I have even less incentive to. And I think this is the same reality for a lot of people. Another factor to consider here, more on the eco-friendly side of things, is whether or not we're going to continue seeing initiatives for cutting out and banning the use of single-use plastics. This is something that I see as becoming more and more of a reality that we're faced with as governments and consumers just look for alternatives to single-use plastics and try to cut them out as much as possible. For example, as we can see from this chart right here, we're seeing an increase in plastic bag bans across many US states, and then in Canada, as of 2021, we're going to be banning the use of single-use plastics such as cutlery, stir sticks, straws, etc. And I could very well see the Canadian government including single-use coffee pods on this list once a product like the NEXE pod is readily available. Now, obviously, this doesn't mean that we're going to be seeing the ban of single-use coffee pods. This is just a general observation that I'm making, that as a society, we're really looking for new alternatives to lower our environmental footprint, and the NEXE pod is certainly one of these products that will accomplish this goal. Alright, finally, even though I do see this company as posing a great investment opportunity long-term, let's still speak about some of the risks to consider before making an investment. First of all, this is a relatively new company. Even though they were founded in 2015, they do not have their NEXE pods out in mass scale production, and they're not yet licensing their products out to other companies, so they are potentially far out from decent revenues. We'll definitely have to keep an eye on this over the course of 2021 as they start scaling up their production and launching to market. Now, a second risk I see here is that they're definitely not going to be profitable for at least a couple of years. This is very typical for a new company or a smaller cap company that's in complete growth mode. However, it's still something that I wanted to mention here to consider as an investor. Another thing to consider is that their stock is currently extremely volatile right now. They are still a small cap stock at under $200 million in market cap, and I expect that this company will continue to be volatile until further financial and or concrete business developments are out and available for investors to consume and really make a better idea of what this company has to offer from a financial standpoint. With that said, I do expect that we'll start seeing more stability in the stock price once the company does, actually start rolling out their cups on a wider level in 2021 and start producing some income. As of right now, it's basically like investing in a pre-revenue company, but regardless, I see massive opportunity for NEXE Innovations. With all that said, NEXE Innovations, definitely a company that I find extremely innovative and interesting from an investment standpoint. I could see this company become a multi-billion-dollar company over the coming next years, and I really encourage you to check the company out if you're interested. If you want to purchase shares, you're going to need to use a brokerage that supports the Canadian Securities Exchange. Make sure to check out the links down below to the Questrade link, where you can open and fund your account and get $50 in free trades. I would also encourage you to check out the link down below to my full investment course, where you'll learn A to Z everything you need to know about investing in the stock market, from knowing absolutely nothing all the way to having your own portfolio crafted for your needs. So again, thanks a lot for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.